What's up, everyone, and welcome to Project XTalk, an Xbox podcast, episode number 133, presented by Save the Game Media. I'm your host, Kevin, and I am joined by my co-host, Mr. Physical Copy. Ethan, how you doing, buddy?
Kevin, coming off of two 16-hour shifts. I'm drinking wine for breakfast, and I got high blood pressure. I'm having a great time, Kevin. We're going to talk about some video games, dude. Oh, I'm having a great time. Love it.
16 hours.
Gotta be positive. I got Jedi Survivor to play all night. All right, we got to be positive about this.
All right, positivity. That's what we're doing here. All right, there's a lot of negativity in the video game space. All right, and I can't say the whole episode will be positive because there's some things I got to talk about. But if you are new here, this is an Xbox podcast. We are usually live every Thursday, although that might be changing with Ethan's new work schedule. We're still working out the kinks there. If you can't catch us live, we post every Friday morning on your favorite podcast service of choice. So while you're over there, please drop us that rating, 5-star review over Apple, Spotify. And we got a few new reviews. I know Mr. Badbit dropped us over one on Apple. Thank you, Joe, for dropping us one over there. And Spotify, I believe we have now hit over 30. So we got a few more over there, approaching 40 on both platforms. If you can do
Thank you, everyone.
It helps us so much grow in the algorithm. So if you want to interact with us more, please come join that Discord down below. Link is in the description. And if you want to support us further, get early access to Save the Game Media content and exclusive post shows, head over to patreon.com/SaveTheGameMedia. Choose a tier that's right for you, like our current Patreon supporters. So thank you to Bucky Blue, Hopple, Amon, Fabulous Brianna, Brianna's mom, Brianna's brother, Brianna's wife, Nikolai at Night, Cypher, Primus, Brendan Myers, Marcus O'Neill, Lillian, Mimi J, The Snack Network, David Hotright, Dave Harp, and the Xbox Expansion Pass. Thank you all for your support. We appreciate each and every one of you. Ethan, now that we got that out of the way,
yes,
I gotta know, man, what have you been playing this week?
Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Pretty much exclusively been playing that. This game is incredible, Kevin. I knew it was going to be incredible, and it's hitting all the check marks for me. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was one of my favorite Star Wars games ever made. I had a really, really fun time with that. One of the things about Jedi Fallen Order that I wanted to see more out of was I wanted the worlds to be bigger. I wanted the exploration to be more vast. I wanted the worlds to be denser with things to do. And this game hit all those boxes for me. Jedi Survivor is pretty much a continuation of Jedi Fallen Order. The combat hasn't really changed a lot. You still have your stances, your dual wielding saber, your single saber, your double-bladed saber. You still have the same sort of perk tree, same sort of system of finding the meditation spots, very Souls-like, where you can upgrade your skills. You can reset the map to respawn enemies and all that good stuff. But what it does differently is it expands everything that was great in Jedi Fallen Order. The exploration is more fun. The worlds are bigger. There's more items to collect throughout the world. The game is just the total package. And obviously I'm coming from a sort of biased place because I love Star Wars so much. In my heart, this is my favorite franchise IP of all time. So to be back in the shoes of Cal Kestis and finding your old crewmates and being a part of that team again, that was so exciting. I remember thinking about when I finished Jedi Fallen Order. I remember that final scene, and anyone who's played the game, you know the final scene when you're on the ship talking to your crew. And I remember telling myself, I cannot wait to be back with this group of people playing another game. And here I am doing it, and it's hitting. It's an incredible video game. I highly recommend it. I do want to mention some of the faults. Of course, we have to be fair here. It may seem like nitpicking a little bit. The optimization isn't the greatest. I play on performance mode, obviously, and it still has a hard time maintaining 60 frames per second at certain points. There's still some muted graphic textures. There's pop-in here and there. It's usually limited to the big, vast open world areas, especially the first planet that you come to. When you're in the smaller areas, corridors, or buildings, you don't notice it as much. Quality mode is almost unplayable because the frame rate is just garbage. Yeah, I can't stand the frame rate for quality. I think that's normal for any game, though. I can't play in quality because it's like 30 FPS, and it just makes me sick.
I've heard people saying quality is good in Survivor.
I mean, I just don't like quality mode. I think that's where chalks up to. I've heard that it's a lot worse on PC. I remember that was a whole snafu. I remember reading the reports on that it was very poorly optimized. So I guess I should count my lucky stars here. But there is some optimization issues. I'm sure they'll patch it out. It's really nothing game breaking. It's nothing that takes you out of the experience. There's my phone. I forgot to silence it. But the game's great. I highly recommended it. If anybody played Fallen Order and enjoyed it, this game is jacked up to the 9. You're gonna love it. You're gonna spend countless hours into it. I cannot wait to sink my teeth more into it tonight.
Have you played since the patch that just dropped to fix some of the issues?
No, I've not played in 2 days. I basically
Okay.
so I can't wait. There is a patch.
Yeah, they dropped the
download
patch for performance mode. I don't think
Excellent.
it fixes everything, but it should improve your experience for sure.
Excellent.
From what I've heard.
Yep.
I know Sam over on our No Limits show just got the platinum for it.
Yep, I just saw that Discord message before we went live or went recording. That's awesome. Congratulations. I can't wait to actually do that. That was quick. This is not a small game. All right. So he's going hard in the paint on it.
Maybe he was playing it before release. So just want maybe a little
Mr. IGN over here playing video games before they come out.
I don't know if that's
all we get is mid-rate JRPGs that Kevin likes to
Yo, hold up now. Whoa. We get quality, okay?
Quality, yeah. Hey, it gives us the most views when you do those reviews, so I love it.
Oh, wow. Okay, Ethan. Well, I'm glad you've been enjoying Jedi. I've heard nothing but good things, even with the optimization issues. Everyone I know is playing it is absolutely loving it. So it sounds like it's reviewed very well. Our fantasy team has taken a massive hit in recent weeks, unfortunately, but we'll get it back. Speaking of those mid-rate JRPGs, Ethan, I beat one this week. It's called Crystar.
That sounds like a mid-rate JRPG.
I struggled to even call it mid-rate. This is a bottom of the barrel JRPG, okay? It was on my wish list on PlayStation, and it went on sale. It was for $15, normally $60. So I was like, okay, this is a steep sale. I'm gonna pick this up. So I grabbed Crystar for $15, and gotta tell you what, man, this game, not very good. Not very good at all.
That's bad coming from you.
It's an action JRPG, and it's essentially a dungeon crawler where you fight the same enemies reskinned over and over and over, and you're in the same looking dull environment for the entirety of the game.
Ooh.
There is some fun to be had with the combat. It's very hack and slashy. There's one character I hate. I didn't use it all. My issue is that some of the combat, the input feels very delayed, almost like you'd hit the button and then there'd be
deal breaker.
Yeah, it wasn't the best. I learned to live with it. It wasn't very long. I rolled credits in about, I want to say 8 hours or so. I was only doing the main objectives. I got an ending, and the story to this game essentially is that like you are girls that have died and you're stuck in purgatory and you're trying to like revive your sister.
So it's like an isekai.
Kind of. I got an ending, and what I read online, because I looked it up, I was like, this is not good. Like, this wasn't a satisfying ending. Like, my favorite character betrayed us at the end, and like just no resolution. Ooh. Like you just saw some stuff. So I'm like, what happened? And then it's like, oh, that's the bad ending. So to get the good true ending, you have to replay chapters 6 through 8 3 more times.
Ooh.
And I was like, I'm not doing that.
So it's kind of like Near Replicant, where you just have to replay the game and over again to get the different endings. That's tough.
Yeah, I was like, nope, I'm gonna stick with this one, and we're gonna move on. I've completed this game. This is not worth any more of my time. I'm glad I paid so little for this. A game I do want to talk about though, that I really, really have positive things to say. Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle.
I saw you playing that right up until we started recording.
This game is dope. Oh my god, it's from Arc Systems Work. I know I love the Guilty Gear Strive recently. This game is so much
Good pedigree.
fun. It's so good. Like the combos are very they have the simple combo system where you can hit like the same button over and over again and it'll do chains. It has very limited like quarters. Most of it is quarter circles in a direction with some stuff. But the Marvel versus Capcom style of switching in and out of your characters just adds such a fun layer to this combat because I'll be mid combo and you can call your partner in mid combo to like switch it up and just continue
that's
on your
cool.
string. You could do combo like burst attacks. It's just awesome, man. Like I just finished the story mode, so I just rolled credits on that. I don't really know what was going on. It was a story where they're like, how can we justify bringing all of these characters from different games together?
Right.
Because it's a crossover game. So you have the Blaze Blue characters, they're crossing over with the Persona 4 arena characters. Then
You must have been in heaven.
Oh man, it was it's like then they're crossing over with Under Night in Birth, which is another fighting game, and this game has made me very interested in playing those because some of the characters seem really awesome.
Oh yeah.
And then they also have Ruby. I don't know if you're familiar with that Ruby. I think it's an anime or something. I don't know if I don't even know if it's a game.
No,
but
that's for the weebs, Kevin. Come on.
Yo, yeah, this game, yeah, I was like, this is some weeb shit, and I'm about
love
it.
it.
But then you have some like other obscure ones like Senrin Kagura, and I'm like, I don't know what these are, but I love the animations, and I want to start Googling and seeing all these games and where I can play them.
You see, that's the great thing about games that pull together a lot of different IPs, because you, as a fan of this genre, are finding a bunch of new IPs, and now you're about to dive through a bunch of rabbit holes. Knowing what you did with the E series, like you're just gonna buy them all, and you're like, I'm gonna play every one. We're gonna do it. You're gonna complete 100 games by the end of the year.
I think that was number 26, if I remember correctly. So I'm not gonna get
I'm on
near
like
100,
8. Crazy.
Oh man, no, but I really enjoyed my time with that. I'm gonna keep that installed. I have Guilty Gear installed too, but like I almost had the platinum for that on PS5. So and I kind of like playing that one on PlayStation more, to be honest. But this is just a really good game. I'm excited to play more of it. This is one of those like pick up, play a few matches, and just have a good time because it is so smooth and fun.
Online capabilities.
Yeah.
Okay.
Full online, full crossplay. It's
very cool.
The whole package. And unlike Guilty Gear right now, because when Guilty Gear went cross-play onto Xbox, the servers broke. They've been broken for weeks. You can't do anything.
Well, more people were probably playing Guilty Gear than
you just can't. You can't play. Like it's not that they're overloaded. It's that like they just broke.
Completely
they
broken.
just broke.
Okay.
Yeah. So this one actually works, and it's really
outstanding.
Good. I've been playing one other game, but that brings us to our first topic. So why don't we just get right into it? Unless you got something to say, Ethan.
No, sir. Let's do it.
All right. I didn't fix the little things, but we're going to talk about Redfall. So, Redfall, Arcane's latest game, dropped this week, came out Monday evening, Tuesday, depending on where you are. And it has not been well received, to say the least. Currently sitting at a 63 on both Metacritic and OpenCritic. The game has been lambasted for its visuals, technical issues, and overall gameplay. Ethan, I know you haven't played it.
Yeah.
But I gotta chime in here. We gotta talk about Redfall. We have tons of questions about Redfall and the overall impact that this title is going to have on Xbox right now. But I just got to give my current impressions of the game. So I have put a few hours into Redfall. I've only played co-op. This game is awful. This is a truly bad video game. And this isn't like I played Deathloop and didn't like it type of thing. This is a bad game. There is nothing, as far as I can tell, this game needed at least another year plus to be where it should have been. The visuals are some of the ugliest I've ever seen. This looks worse than Left 4 Dead on the 360. I'm not even kidding. This is an ugly game. The art style, the textures, especially the textures, nothing about like some of the physics when you walk up, like there's no interaction. The water is terrible. There's no reflections in the mirror. There's nothing when you look at this game, you're like, this is a visually appealing game. No, it isn't. It's incredibly ugly. But I can look past that, right? Not every game needs to be.
Can you though? Like they don't even have ripple effects for water. Like
I've played some ugly games.
Morrowind has ripple effects for water. Game came out in 2002.
I can look past some ugly games, but then you get to the actual gameplay. The game is floaty as all hell. You run like you're as fast as Sonic the Hedgehog. You're like zooming through this world. And I'm like, okay, that could be positive, but it doesn't feel or look right, first of all. But the big issue comes with the gunplay. It's bad. It doesn't feel good.
You've never been a fan of arcane gunplay, though, have you?
This isn't even like I've played with Kyle and I played with my friend Chevy, both of which who have played arcane games, and they agree this does not feel good. Ooh. The guns don't sound good. They don't feel good to shoot. And I don't know if it's because of a further point I'm going to get into, but there's almost no point because this is the most brain dead AI I've ever experienced in any video game. I am playing on the normal difficulty, so I didn't put it on easy or anything. I'm playing on the normal intended difficulty. The human enemies will literally not notice you when you're standing almost next to them. Then when they do notice you, they start yelling, and before they can do anything, they're dead. You can murder every single person in this game before they start shooting you, before they have any time to react. And even when they do react, they don't do anything. They just start screaming. They shoot like stormtroopers. All right. Like if you just casually walk side to side, you will not get hit in this game. It is garbage, bottom of the barrel AI designed. I cannot stress that enough. The vampires are the other enemies you're going to be fighting in this game. They also suck. They're not fun to fight. You'll shoot them, and then they'll do a little zoomy, and they'll appear next to you. But again, if they're not looking at you and you have an assault rifle, they're going to be dead before they knew that you were there. You melt every single enemy in this game, whether it's a headshot or vampires. There's no challenge to be found in Redfall whatsoever at any point for the multiple hours I've played this game. Not a single challenge. And if you don't think that's bad enough, okay, it gets worse.
It's pretty bad, Kevin, so far. My goodness.
It gets, and I listen, I know it sounds like I'm crapping on the game, and it's because I am, but we're going to have a bigger conversation. But I need to get my Redfall impressions out.
Absolutely.
This is an open world co-op game. None of the characters really matter. Your abilities do not matter. You can pick any character and you will have largely the same experience. You might traverse the world a little differently, but it honestly does not really matter what character you choose. And I say that because this is the emptiest world I've ever seen. Mission structure goes like that. You go to a table, you pick your mission. It marks where you need to go on the map, right? Fine. You can run basically from your point of operations over 1,000 meters away to where you need to go and not encounter a single enemy. Wow. You will run through barren wastelands of nothingness, just empty buildings, empty towns, absolutely nothing going on in this world. It's like they built it and then forgot to put the actual gameplay in. Wow. I don't know what they were thinking releasing the game like this, because there's we played, my friend, it was his first time playing tonight. We played with him over an hour, and the entire time he said the game just isn't fun. There's nothing to do. The game because when you get into combat, like the few times that we've gone to a mission and there's been lots of enemies, or we did some vampire nests, and occasionally that those will have lots of enemies, you can have some fun when there's an overwhelming amount of enemies, but that's never the case. The hours I put in, you just don't do anything. You run from point A to point B, find something in a building, turn something off, turn something on, interact with an object, and then run back, get mission accomplished. Here, put your skill points into this tree that doesn't freaking matter. I don't like crapping on games. And when I saw the 6, I'm like, okay, maybe this is a little harsh. No,
Right.
this game is being reviewed honestly. This is perfectly where Redfall deserves to be, because it has the bare bones of what could be a good game. Like, you see the intent there. You see that they wanted to make a looter shooter, but the loot is pointless. You just click X on everything. Nothing matters. The mission structure, the gameplay loop, none of it is cohesive and coherent. No fun to be found in Redfall whatsoever. I'm incredibly disappointed, and I don't know if I'm going to play more.
Kevin, I got to tell you, I have never heard you so methodically break apart a game like I just heard. That was tough to listen to. And it's extremely disappointing. This was a game that I was excited for. I was excited for the vibrancy of the world. I was excited for the arcane gunplay. I was excited for the gameplay loop of being able to go out and do missions with your friends and collect loot. There were a lot of things about this game that I was excited about. Am I still going to play it? Yes. I'm still going to give it a shot just so I can talk about it on the same level as all of you. I do want to experience this and see what it is, and hopefully they get some patches in to make the world look nice, at least, so I can get some cool pictures out of it, because I like taking pictures in my games. But it's tough to hear, and I think that's a huge blow for Arcane. I mean, you and I both agree, neither of us really enjoyed Deathloop. I think both of us agree that Deathloop did not deserve the praise that it got.
I can't say it was a bad game. Deathloop wasn't for me. You played Deathloop through, so you have a more.
I played it through, and I can tell you, I probably played it through only for the gunplay, because I am a fan of arcane gunplay. I'm a huge fan of Dishonored. I'm a huge fan of the gunplay in Deathloop. I think that was its only redeeming quality. And for you to tell me about how awful the gunplay is in Redfall, that scares me a bit, because that's probably the aspect of it that I was most excited for, was this combat, was the gunplay, was all the different weapons that you could acquire and use against enemies. So I'm definitely intrigued to jump into this and see how bad this is. But it is really a disappointing blow for Xbox, I think. And there's probably a larger conversation around all the games coming out that I'm sure we'll talk about at another time and date. But that's tough.
You want to know how I knew this was a bad game almost from the get-go? Is when the 30 FPS, which everyone thought was going to be the big negative for Redfall. Like, I know before launch, I said, 30 FPS can still be fun if done well.
Right.
30 FPS is the least of Redfall's problems. Like, does it look good? No. And it's not even a stable 30 FPS. There are times where this drops lots and lots of frames. Like, you'll go to stake a vampire, frame drops. But that's not the worst technical issues. This game is riddled with bugs. I'm not even kidding. In my short few hours playing, here's the list of bugs I've encountered or my friends have encountered. Being unable to pick up ammo for weapons. You hit X and you cannot pick up the ammo. Being stuck on a ladder that you're trying to climb. Your character model just spins and you are unable to go anywhere. Being unable to shoot your guns. Being unable to close a tip that's on the side of your screen, or something that says like mission complete. Just stuck there forever. No matter what you do, you can't fast travel. There are so many bugs in Redfall that I've experienced. It's absurd. I don't know how this got out the door. I don't know how they looked at this and was like, this is the game we want to shift. Like, this is going to be one of our big tentpole titles for the year. It's embarrassing, honestly.
Yeah, I don't understand the quality control behind it, because it's not like these bugs magically manifest as they're making copies of it, right? Like this was played by play testers, and they signed off on it. It's very difficult to hear this. This was a game I was excited for, but it seems like they completely dropped the ball here. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. I mean, I was, I mean, I'm sure other people have heard similar things from reviewers. I'm not the first person to say this, surely, but if you can't trust those big name reviewers, like here's someone, a smaller, I'm one of you, okay? One of you just on a podcast talking.
One of you.
I'm one of you. It's not a good game. It's not a good game, and I don't know if I'm going to play more. There's so much to play right now. Why would you play Redfall? Is where I'm at.
Star
right
Wars
now.
Jedi Survivor. I mean, there's no reason to. I had this big list of questions for you of like, oh, how's the open world? How's the gunplay? You literally methodically dismantled every aspect of this game before I could get out a question. Like you answered all of my questions during your talk. That's wow.
Yeah, the two big things that everyone was crapping, like the co-op progression and 30 FPS, are my least issues with it. Like they're the least of the worries that this game has going on.
Those were the ones that they admitted to.
Yeah, and everything else is worse because like Harvey Smith, who's the game director, and I'm sure everyone poured a lot of love into Redfall, and I'm sure they're sad that it's not working out for them. And I don't like doing this to games. I do like talking more positively about games like Blaze Blue and even Crystar to it, because there are things that I will say. Positive note in this co-op, you being able to go anywhere, anytime, you all do different stuff. That's a big plus. That is great. That's what I like to see in co-op open world games. The soundtrack, really, really good. The soundtrack is banging in Redfall. They did a great job with that. But that's really all the positives I have to say about the game. Unfortunately, it's a very short list. But we have a question regarding this from well, not semi-related, so leads into a bigger conversation. So Real Dave Jackson wants to know, do you think there is now extra pressure on Starfield to A, be great, and B, run well at release? Do you think this makes it more or less likely to be delayed again?
I can't speak to the delay aspect of this. I don't think this affects whether or not Bethesda would delay Starfield or not. I think Bethesda knows the importance of Starfield, and if they need to delay it, they were going to delay it regardless of whether or not Redfall was good. But I do think this definitely increases pressure on Bethesda to do a good job with Starfield, because I mean, Starfield already has a lot of pressure on it. We've been talking about it forever, that this is the hallmark moment for Game Pass. This needs to hit for Game Pass. This game is going to either make or break the entire model, I think, that Xbox has been trying to push over the last few years. I think this is what's going to prove whether or not it's worth it to have this sort of game model. Starfield's extremely important for Xbox. I think it's still going to come out. I think it's going to be fine. I don't know if it's going to get delayed or not. Who knows anymore? Does it increase the importance of it? Not really. I think we already look at Starfield as one of the most important titles for Xbox and for this generation. And I know we talked about that with Halo Infinite as well, and Halo Infinite dropped the ball. This game clearly has dropped the ball, Redfall, and Xbox needs Starfield to hit. They really, really do.
So in terms of, I don't think this changes the importance of Starfield. We've said for a long time that Starfield needs to not just be good, it needs to be great. It needs to be great. And whether that is a 90 on Metacritic, OpenCritic, or just
it's Bethesda game, it's not going to be a 90.
or just a commercial and player hit. Because if the community loves Starfield, that's really what matters.
That's what Bethesda games, that's what matters for them.
Because you see things like critics hated the Super Mario movie. Users or viewers love it. So
and that's all that matters.
That's all that matters is the community and the players. If the players say, yo, the critics, you got this wrong, this game is amazing. That's what matters most.
That's what matters, yes.
Because if Xbox sees the engagement and people jumping into Starfield, they're not going to care if it gets a mid-80s on open critic. All right. Yes, it'd be great to have a 90 and show that, like, hey, we can get this too. But at the end of the day, review scores aren't really what matters.
Right.
Does this impact the delay of Starfield? I don't think this is related at all. Redfall was built by Arcane, and Starfield is being built by Bethesda. Completely two different teams, two different processes. They're not related in the slightest. I've seen a lot of people bring this up and kind of. I'm not saying Dave was doing this where he was like, "Oh, well, they're made by the same people." Clearly, not the case. But I
Well,
don't really think that matters.
I think the premise of the question more was, will Bethesda start looking at Starfield as being more important because of the failure of Redfall? And I don't think that Bethesda, the studio, really care. I mean, obviously they care. We're all gamers here. All the game developers are a close-knit community. They all care about each other, right? But I don't think they necessarily care about the success of of Redfall as it relates to Starfield's success. They're not going to base decisions off of whether or not a game came out and it wasn't good, right?
I think that if it needs a delay, it should get a delay.
Absolutely.
If Redfall had come out and been an 86 on Metacritic, I still would have said the same. If Starfield needs a delay, give it a delay.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't really change the conversation in my mind. It may in some, because there's a lot of negativity going around in the Xbox community right now where people are like, Xbox hasn't given us a good game in years. They can't deliver.
We just got Hi-Fi Rush like 3 months ago. Everyone chill out.
Bro, it doesn't matter. All right. It doesn't matter. People have the memories of goldfish. Okay.
That's true.
This is.
I work with a lot of people with the memories of goldfish.
No, it's a bad look for Xbox. Redfall is a bad moment for Xbox. It's a bad game. It doesn't mean everything is crap and going to hell. Okay, like we all need to just calm down a little and understand that like it looks bad for Xbox, but they can still have a good year despite this.
Yeah.
All right.
Games hit. Sometimes they don't. I mean, if this year is Hi-Fi Rush and Starfield, you know what? That's great. Those two games were incredible. It's a blast playing them. But I don't think every game needs to hit. We still have more games coming down the pipeline. We got this showcase coming up, which we're going to talk about a little later, that we might get some new treats in there. We still got a lot of stuff in the works, like Avowed, Fable, Hellblade 2. There's a lot of different projects going on at Microsoft that I'm really excited for. This isn't the end of everything, right? It's just the game came out and it was bad. It sucks, but it's just a reality.
And I know Phil Spencer is tomorrow. Well, actually, it'll be today as the time you guys are hearing this, was on the Kind of Funny Xcast talking about the current.
Can't wait to watch that.
Talking about the current state of Xbox, apparently. So maybe check that out, see what he has to say. I know I will be tuning in to hear that. So Phil,
I hope there's some hard questions with that team. I hope they actually hit them with some good stuff.
I'm skeptical, but I do hope that we get some good stuff coming out of that. So we'll see. But Redfall, big disappointment. That's really to sum it up. And this isn't I do want to say, if you're enjoying Redfall, great. I am happy I'm over the moon. I wish I could be having the experience you're having. I'm just not, and no one I'm playing with is having that experience, unfortunately. So plus it costs us fantasy points, Ethan.
Yeah, come on, Kevin. Damn.
Cost us a lot.
Who would have known that both Minecraft Legends and Redfall were going to be kind of bust?
Messed up. Yeah, I mean, really when you got no limits rigging it, it's hard. But
stop the steal, Kevin. Stop the steal.
Stop the steal. Stop the steal. That's right. All right, we can move on to story number 2. This one broke after we recorded last week, so we didn't talk about it last week, but it would be wrong of us not to mention it this week. Okay, so the CMA, or the UK's Competition and Markets Authority, has moved to prevent Activision's acquisition of Activision Blizzard. This comes from IGN. Announced by the CMA have decided to block the deal, saying due to implications for cloud gaming, quote, the deal would alter the future of the fast-growing cloud gaming market, leading to reduced innovation and less choice for UK gamers over the years to come. Microsoft has retaliated by saying it will appeal the decision, saying it is, quote, disappointed by the results that appear to reflect a flawed understanding of this market. They've since signed a new cloud gaming deal And Brad Smith continues to say, quote, "We remain fully committed to this acquisition and will appeal. The CMA's decision reflects a pragmatic path to address competition concerns and discourages technology innovation and investment in the United Kingdom. We've already signed contracts to make Activision Blizzard's popular games available on 150 million more devices, and we remain committed to reinforcing these agreements through regulatory remedies. We're especially disappointed that after a lengthy deliberation, this decision appears to reflect a flawed understanding of the market and the way that relevant cloud technology actually works." I think I'll stop it there. I think everyone gets the point.
Yep. Ding dong,
Ethan,
the witch is dead.
this isn't what was rumored. It was rumored they were going to approve the deal.
Yeah.
We saw a bunch of deals leading up to it. We all thought they were going to approve the deal, but this was clearly a shock. How are you feeling?
It's unfortunate because and look, I would be saying the same thing if it was PlayStation acquiring Activision Blizzard King. So I don't want any of the console warrior crap here. Activision Blizzard King shouldn't be independent anymore. I think they've had way too many issues. They've mismanaged their IPs. Maybe not financially mismanaged because they obviously focused on IPs that make them the most money. And I'm sure their shareholders got huge paychecks, and I'm sure everyone made a lot of money off of those games. But at the end of the day, for gaming enthusiasts like ourselves and for our listeners, because anyone's listening to this podcast or that you guys are gaming enthusiasts, you know that the IPs that Activision Blizzard King holds and is not using properly, those deserve to be brought back out into the light. And I don't care if it's PlayStation that does it. I don't care if it's Xbox that does it. I don't care if it's Nintendo that does it. And I don't want to see those IPs continue just to die off because we're focusing on Call of Duty. As much as I like Call of Duty, I'm not saying I don't like it. I enjoy playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I think it's a great video game. There's lots of great content, but I would like to see more out of the studios. I would like to see more studios go back to their roots and make games that they love to make and not just be COD support studios. So it's unfortunate that it looks like Activision Blizzard King might continue to be independent. Obviously, you talked about how they're going to appeal the decision. We'll see how that goes. I do think that this is a flawed way of looking at the industry. I do think that this is more of a political hit job than anything. I don't think that any of these regulatory agencies really care about the consumers, because as consumers, we should be fighting for these IPs to be brought back, right? And I don't think they care about the consumer. I think this is more of them just being able to say during campaigns, hey, we went against big tech, vote for us, because that's a lot of how government works, and it's really unfortunate. But getting off of that, it is just a sad thing. It is what it is, though. I will say there's a silver lining in this. We don't got to talk about this story anymore. if this is the nail in the coffin, Kevin, we can stop talking about this forever. And I know the trophy room is also going to be extremely happy that we don't have to talk about this. I'm sure Carpool Gaming's happy that we don't got to talk about it. Everybody in the community is like, all right, let's just put it to rest. We're done. We're going to move on and talk about video games. But sad.
So the EU, I believe, is giving their decision at the end of this month, May. If they also reject it, I think the deal is dead in the water. I think you pay the kill fee and you move on. To be honest, I'm kind of in the camp that this is becoming more trouble than it's worth. I know they said they're going to appeal the decision. From what I've read, appeals to the CMA are more likely than not shot down, because there's no court system over in the UK. It's not like the FTC appealing where you take them to court. The CMA is
guys in powdered wigs, Kevin.
Just kidding. The CMA basically reviews their own appeals and decides if they're right or wrong. Again, I don't.
They decide if they're right or wrong.
It's a very weird
good way of doing it.
Yeah, I don't really know. So if they don't get the CMA's approval, the deal's down in the water anyway, because Microsoft needs to be able to sell stuff in the UK. It's one of their largest markets. So I'm more of the opinion that maybe we just call it. It's unfortunate that this hasn't gone as smoothly as you needed it to, but dragging this out for potentially another year, I think that takes away from the games that you are trying to make, your internal studios. You can spend that $69 billion on the current studios. I'm sure Redfall could have used some of that money to make that game a little better, but you have talented studios, invest in those, pick up the smaller studios like a Sobo that you've built relationships with and bring them into the fold if you really want some more talented studios. I just don't think that it's worth Activision, but like all this time, money, effort. If it was a quick process, and well, even then it hasn't been quick, but if it was more of a done deal as we thought it was going to be, then yes, continue on and get it through. But at this point, I'm kind of done with it. Like let's just call it. You tried. All right.
That is a great point, Kevin, and you're right. They will have to pay a small fee if anybody doesn't know, if there's a potential buyout and it doesn't work out. Usually, the company that's
I believe
trying to buy
it's
the company
$3
have to.
billion
Yeah,
they have to pay.
it's nowhere near the original price, but they do have to pay a fee to them. But it will free up a ton of money for Xbox to sort of play with. And you're right, they could reinvest it. I wouldn't be opposed to them going the route of what Sony's been doing and building those relationships with studios and making those targeted acquisitions. I think Sony has done an incredible job doing that, making really, really quality video games with really, really quality studios and bringing them into the family and making that close-knit community. I think Xbox could use some of that. I think Xbox should probably try and move away from some of these bulk buys, because obviously if they try and do something like this again, like let's say they go after Square Enix, let's say they go after Ubisoft, they're going to have to do this whole fight over again, Kevin. And it's going to be a nightmare.
If they somehow get Activision Blizzard through, I don't think they can buy another publisher.
No way.
There's no chance in my mind that they get another publisher. It's strictly small studio acquisitions at that point.
Absolutely.
There's just no way. I can't fathom a world where they're like, yeah, we're going to approve further. We're going to approve Ubisoft. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
and like, I'm not judging Xbox obviously for taking that risk and trying to buy Activision Blizzard King. It was a risk.
Yeah, it's a competitive move. It's a competitive move for sure.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody should say, "Oh, this was a terrible idea," but they took a risk. Some risks don't pan out. You know, I think it would have had a positive effect on the gaming industry for Activision Blizzard King to be acquired. Hell, I don't care if Sony comes from the back door and puts in a bid for it now. That would be awesome. I would be cheering from the rooftop if that were the case. All right. So again, no console war stuff here.
I do think it's interesting that the deal got blocked because of cloud gaming as opposed to PlayStation and Jim Ryan's arguments about Call of Duty.
Or like, hey, they have plenty of publishers and like I don't know.
From what I've read, is that they literally don't care about that at all. It's honestly like every decision was cloud gaming. They're concerned that Microsoft
cloud gaming makes up how much of a percentage of our market? Like barely.
I think the problem is that Microsoft is the leader, even though Amazon Luna just said they have like 18 million players in the UK or something. So
I don't know.
I don't know enough about the cloud gaming market. It doesn't seem like a very big market to me. I don't get why it would cut this deal personally, but either way, I'm not fussed if this doesn't go through. We've said this for months now. Like I really don't care. I tweeted just buy the Crash Bandicoot IP and call it a day.
Yeah, I'm fussed to the extent that I know there's a lot of developers that work for Activision Blizzard King that were probably excited about this because they were like, oh, we get a little bit more freedom. We get a backing by a big company like Microsoft. Maybe we can actually make games we want to play and not just work on COD 24/7, right? But, you know, I guess we'll have to wait. Well, they probably can't say anything because they work for them, so they don't want to get fired. But it's just unfortunate for the teams on those development studios.
We do have a question coming from Taylor who says, I got a question this week. How many steps back has Xbox taken between the CMA ruling and Redfall being a bust? And how can they bounce back outside of Starfield being the ace in the deck? Or is Starfield just that more important now? We kind of addressed the Starfield thing in the previous question, but I kind of want to talk about the first part where how many steps back has Xbox taken between the CMA ruling and Redfall being a bust?
I mean, I think it would be silly to say that it's not a step back. I mean, obviously, it's a huge blow to the strategy that Xbox had. They got to reevaluate what they want to do. I think Xbox had a lot of plans for Activision Blizzard King. And now, obviously, now those plans are able to come to fruition, and they got to backtrack. They got to figure out what to do with that capital that they're going to get back. They got to figure out a new game plan for who they're going to acquire, what games they're going to make, what their schedule is going to look like for game releases. There's a lot that's going to go into the planning for Xbox into the next 3 months. We'll see what they come out with during the showcase that we're going to talk about a little later. We're going to see what Phil Spencer has to say, hopefully tomorrow. I hope there's a really great discussion there on the strategy that Xbox is going to have. It's definitely a few steps back. But again, I want to go back to the point that I made in that taking risks, whether it be in business, whether it be in life, is really important. And I want to see these companies take risks, because taking risks creates a lot of innovation, right? And sometimes those risks just don't pan out. I'm not saying Redfall was a risk. That was a safe game. It was a looter shooter, vampires, guns, all that stuff. They just dropped the ball on that. But the Activision Blizzard King acquisition was definitely a risk that Microsoft went into, knowing they were going to have to fight with multiple governmental agencies, and it's going to be a slog. It's going to cost them a lot of money. It was a huge risk, and it just didn't pan out for them. And I'm not going to judge them on that. I think it was a good move, but it just didn't pan out. Definitely a step back.
Yeah, I think the biggest step back here is in the public perception, because I don't think people have viewed Xbox this negatively in quite some time. And we just went an entire year with one first party title coming out, and that was Pentiment. So last year was and that's not a dig at Pentiment, because it reviewed very well. People liked it, but it's a very niche game. So all I'm trying to get a point is the community dealt with that as a promise of next year is going to be great. We're going to get Redfall. We're going to get Starfield. We're going to put Forza Motorsport. We're going to get these AAA bangers. And I think when you get to Redfall, which is supposed to be the first ushering of a new age for Xbox, right? Like we're done with the Xbox of the last few years where they had some good titles, but this is where it starts to get good. And then to see it come out as one of their worst reviewed games and worst performing games in quite a few years, I think in the public mindset, that's a big hit. It makes Xbox look pretty incompetent. And you're like, well, what did I wait all this time for? So I think internally, Xbox is going to keep doing what they're doing. I don't think there's any change in their strategy. I think they still fully believe in the games they have in the pipeline. I believe in the games they have in the pipeline. Hellblade, Avowed. I think there's too much potential here for there not to be something great to come out. Like, I know Redfall didn't hit, but I don't think that's going to be the norm for Xbox Game Studios. I can't believe it. I just can't.
Yeah, it would be extremely disappointing.
So public mind share for sure. Step backwards. How do they remedy it? Good games. That's
Starfield's got to hit.
That's it.
Hellblade's got to hit. Avowed's got to hit. They got to get good games.
If they put out good games, no one's going to care that it'll be the Days Gone moment, right? Like Days Gone came out, it was not very good, and then they just moved on, put out bangers. So all right. We'll see what happens there with the CMA. We'll keep everyone updated as usual when it comes in. But let's go to story number 3, and it's just your Game Pass update for the first half of May. And it's a pretty light first half update, to be honest. So available right now, Redfall for cloud, PC, and Xbox Series X and S. Ravenlock for cloud, console, and PC. May 8th, you get Weird West Definitive Edition. May 9th, Shadowrun Trilogy for PC. And May 11th, Fuga Melodies of Steel 2 for cloud, console, and PC. Ethan, how are we feeling about this Game Pass drop?
Ravenlock looks kind of interesting. Little indie title. But honestly, Jedi Survivor is going to take up all of my time for my gaming for the next couple weeks. So not really much here for me.
I've obviously already talked about Redfall. I am super excited to dive into Ravenlock, though. This game looks awesome.
Please tell me about it whenever you play it. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, it's downloaded on my console. It just went live before we started recording, so I will get to that probably later in the week, and then weekend next week. So it's not a very long game. I think it's like 6 to 8 hours long, so it's a perfect one of those little tiny games. It comes from Cocoa Cucumber, not Cocoa Melon, as I said previously, but
you said Cocoa Melon. Love
I
it.
said Cocoa Melon over on the Xbox Drive, but Cocoa Cucumber, who brought you Echo Generation. So it's a team with a pretty good pedigree behind them. It's not reviewing; it's reviewing in the 6s range. So I'm not sure if that's just
knowing indies though. I played some banger
that's
6s
what I'm saying.
with indies.
That's what I'm saying. So
Turnip Boy commits tax evasion. Come on,
that's a fire game.
It's such a good game.
Nothing else here for that, and it's weird that we got so few games. It's almost like they were betting on Redfall being the big one.
That's
I know
definitely what they wanted here.
I know there's a few more coming in the second half of the month. I think Planet of Lana just got announced for May 23rd, but I think Redfall, they were really banking on it, so they didn't make many deals for this one. I'll tell you what.
Oh
well, we got plenty of games.
Life in the zone.
Go play Star Wars.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Game Pass referral program, though. So over on Xbox Wire, Xbox states, quote, "We know that gaming is best with friends. So today we're introducing the Xbox Game Pass Friend Referral offer, which lets Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and PC Game Pass members give up to 5 friends a free 14-day PC Game Pass trial. The invited friends must be new to Game Pass to redeem the free trial offer." Ethan, what are we thinking?
I mean, it's cool. I like this strategy. I mean, put people in the ecosystem, see if they like it, and they want to stay, they can start paying the subscription. I like it that it gives you 5 people that you could do this with. It's not like a one and done thing. Just refer somebody. It's a good 5 people, family, friends, but just another way for them to try and spread the Game Pass love, and that's always a good thing.
Yeah. So I when I first saw this, I was like, oh, that is a really cool move. And then I read that it was you give 5 friends a free 14-day PC Game Pass trial.
Wait, hold on.
It's
just PC Game Pass?
You can only give people PC Game Pass.
Oh, so they're just trying to grow their PC market, huh? With this
deal. which isn't the best look when you consider the console feeling right now, where Redfall performs a lot better on PC than it does on console. Okay, so people are in their feelings, so like they don't care about the Xbox consumer base anymore. They care about the PC, and this kind of was a kind of a bad look for. I don't know if this was the right time to announce this, because
this probably would have been the right time if Redfall hit. You know what I mean? But
maybe.
I think this is just a bad storm right here.
It's a weird move that this isn't like available on Xbox consoles, because to me it makes more sense to give people Xbox trials.
Share it with somebody on your friends list or something. Like you just press a couple buttons in the menus. Oh, your friend has Game Pass now for 14 days. Message him. Hey, give it a shot. I don't know. That seems pretty logical to me.
Only PC. It's a
maybe there's an existing thing that we don't know about. I don't know. No one I know doesn't have Game Pass, so I've never even tried, right? Like everybody has Game Pass right now.
It's weird because I thought this was like, oh, they got rid of the $1 entry offer deal a few weeks ago. And I thought when I saw this, I was like, oh, this is their replacement. Like they're going to let you get a free trial. That's almost like even better than a $1 deal, but it isn't on console.
Joke's on you. You have to spend $2,000 on a PC.
Yeah, get your PC rig up, and then we'll get you Game Pass. All right, nerd.
Too funny.
It's cool for PC user base for sure, but I think for the general user, it could have been better.
Maybe use it for something else other than Redfall.
Play
Hi-Fi Rush.
Jesus. Play Hi-Fi Rush.
Play Hi-Fi Rush, please.
All right, Ethan, looking forward. The Xbox Game Showcase. This comes from Joe Screbbles over at Xbox Wire. He says, quote, "We're delighted to announce that the Xbox Game Showcase will be live streamed on June 11th at 10 a.m. Pacific time, which is 1 p.m. Eastern time for those of us that live in real America. Immediately after the showcase, we'll be airing Starfield Direct, a deep dive into Bethesda Game Studios' highly anticipated sci-fi RPG. Join us for some new surprises and first looks from our incredibly talented internal studios and our many creative partners around the world. This is the day gamers have been waiting to see what is coming to Xbox, PC, and Game Pass. As they've done in recent years, there will be a follow-up Xbox Game Showcase extended stream on June 13th at 1 p.m. featuring interviews and deep dives with developers. Ethan, this isn't news really because we knew the date. We now have the time frame for said event. But how are we feeling about the Xbox showcase? Did they hype it up enough? They made some lofty claims here, in my opinion.
Feeling good because I just did the quick mental math. I am not working that weekend, so I will be there, Kevin, to do a live react with you. Thank God. I'm very happy about that. I'm excited for any showcase. Honestly, I don't care what you give me. I'm a huge fan of doing showcases or any sort of events that we get to live react to. I think it's the most exciting thing we get to do on this channel, where we get together and celebrate video games for just a little bit, whether it be a PlayStation State of Play or an Xbox showcase or a Nintendo Direct, whatever it may be. So I'm gonna try and not let this negativity around Xbox right now get me down. I'm excited for this showcase. I'm excited what they got for us. We got a really great surprise with the last showcase. That developer direct was a really fun time. Go check out our live react to that. Hi-Fi Rush reveal was absolutely incredible last time. And like we talked about earlier, we do have a lot of really exciting projects down the pipeline for Xbox that we would love to see more details about. I'm hoping for Hellblade, Kevin. Hellblade, we really need to see details on that. We've been talking about it forever. Maybe they save it for, maybe opening or what is it? ONL? What's that?
Yeah, opening it live. You're right.
That's what it's called. Yeah. Or maybe Summer Games Fest or something. But I would love to see something cool out of this showcase.
So this is after Summer's Game Fest, actually. Summer Game Fest
is it? When's Summer Games
before
Fest?
June 8th.
Oh, no way I'm making that. No way I'm
8th.
making that.
Oh, it's in the middle of the day. It's like
that's unfortunate.
But, what the one line that sticks out to me in this is the day gamers have been waiting for. That's a pretty lofty sentence there. You're I know your job is to hype it up, but you're really hyping it up. And
yeah, usually they try and tamper expectations a little bit. I don't know what they're meaning by that. Who knows?
It got me like
watch him shadow drop Starfield.
Yeah, no, yeah. I know we said September 6th, but here you go.
Now,
yeah, no. I'm also hoping to see, we got us. It's time to see projects that we have been waiting for Fable, Avowed, Hellblade for sure needs to be there. I know there is a rumor that Hellblade is coming out this holiday, which I know I've said that there's a chance it comes out this year for a while now. I know other people have said this as well. This was fueled more by a recent Game Pass advertisement that was hyping up Game Pass, and every title featured in it was a game released this year or is releasing this year, and Hellblade was a part of that show, that little advert that they did. So that led to speculation. It's like, why would they put Hellblade in here if every other game's 2023? Why would this one be in there? So maybe we're reading the tea leaves a little too much, but I'm looking for Hellblade for sure. If you can deliver that, your showcase already wins in my book. But no, I'm excited. Like, things like Contraband, because they're bringing in third-party partners, right? Like we need to see updates on this. We need time frames, release dates, hopefully some this year, some surprises for maybe some smaller games, but 2024 and beyond, we need to know that like games are coming in these time frames, things to look forward to, because we know 2023. Let's start looking forward to the future and building that excitement.
And it's especially important now with the Activision deal probably not going through. We have to know what their strategy is. We have to know what their schedules are looking for games, because like I said earlier, I'm sure they were banking on having a lot of projects in the pipeline through Activision, and now they got to look at their studios and be like, all right, what do we got in the pipeline? We got to really hammer this down.
Absolutely. So we'll look forward to that. Again, we are going to do a live stream for that showcase, so you can come watch that live with us, and then the Starfield Direct right after. So it's going to be a few hours.
Gonna be fun.
It's going to be a few hours long.
That's going to be my midnight too, because I work nights. So can't wait to fall asleep live on air for the first time. It's going to be a good time.
Well, you better not be falling asleep. Right?
Just yell at me. I'll be fine.
All right. We have one listener question to round us out for the week. It comes from Alpaca Tom, who says, do you guys think that Phil Spencer should be removed as head of Xbox? We had improvements with him, but we've also still have yet to have a stream of games that haven't been played with mismanagement.
So I'm going to say no for the fact that I think if Phil Spencer is to be removed or wants to retire or wants to hand over the reins to someone else, he has to see a lot of these games that are coming out through first. He has to see the launch of Starfield out first, right? He has to do a few other things before he leaves. We can't have the captain of the ship leave through a time where we're going through a little bit of turmoil. We have to have somebody that's stable. We have to have stable management. This is the same thing for any group of people or any project or any company. You have to maintain stability when you're going through a crisis. Yes, there are times where you have to get rid of people and fire people for misconduct and for horrible things that they do, right? But Phil Spencer took a risk. It didn't pan out. It's not on Phil Spencer. It's just the reality of the world we live in that this deal didn't go through. I think he's done a lot of great things for Xbox. He's dealt with a launch of a console during a 100-year pandemic. That's something to be lauded. There's been some great video games. He's definitely taken a hands-off approach to a lot of the studios in Microsoft, and they've done some really great work with that. We talked about Pentiment earlier. We talked about Hi-Fi Rush, these smaller projects that probably normally wouldn't ever be able to get done without Microsoft support. I think Phil Spencer is a gamer at heart. We know he's a gamer at heart. You can go on right now, look at his gamer tag, P3. You can see all the achievements he got. You can see going back all the video games he's played. I think he's been a good executive for Xbox, and I think he's done a great job. He's positive. He's energetic. And I don't want to see him go. I'm still a big fan of Phil Spencer, and I like that he's taking risks. They just don't pan out sometimes.
So I've seen this from a few people from the internet. A lot of people saying Phil Spencer needs to go after Redfall's poor launch. I think it's a bit overreactionary. Personally, Phil Spencer has done a lot for the Xbox brand.
Yeah.
They backwards compatibility, Game Pass, all these initiatives that have made the Xbox ecosystem better, improved it, got us out of that hole that the Xbox One generation launched in. And we in the Series X, I think it's been a better generation for me than the Xbox One was, certainly already. So I think we have so much promise coming in the future from things that Phil Spencer and the team over there have done and things that we're looking forward to. I understand people being disappointed at the 2022 not having a game, at Redfall's launch, at the current concern. We need to hear more from them. We need to be reassured. I will say there's 0% chance Phil Spencer gets fired because under him we've consistently seen record-breaking quarters for revenue.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, when Satya Nadella looks at this and it's like, what's Phil Spencer doing? Oh, he's making us money.
Look at those spreadsheets.
That's all they care about. They're not looking at Redfall launched in a poor state. Like, we're going to hold Phil accountable. And from what Jez Corden's reporting said, Bethesda and Xbox are still working very independently. So Xbox was pretty hands-off in Redfall, and that was more Bethesda's call. Does that mean that they shouldn't be held accountable? No. You own Bethesda. This still reflects badly on Xbox. I'm just saying this isn't a Matt Booty went over there and was like, yeah, that looks good, get it out the door, or like, you need to get this shipped. So it isn't as simple as Xbox is to blame for every issue that's going on in Bethesda, but it also isn't the fact that they're not responsible, because they do own them. They need to take accountability. That starts with Matt Booty, Sarah Bond, Phil Spencer. They need to be held accountable, but we also need to not overreact at one game not launching very well when there's a lot of good going on in the Xbox ecosystem.
Yep. And I think another important thing to highlight, and this comment might age like milk, so I want to preface this. And from everything we have heard from the outside looking in, without insider details, it appears that Phil Spencer and the management team there has created a very positive environment for the studios that work under Microsoft, for Microsoft proper, for Xbox proper. Everything we've seen, it seems like they have a very hands-off approach. They let the studios experiment. They let them have fun. They let them make video games that they want to make. Again, prefacing that comment may age like milk. Who knows what comes out in the future? So I want to make that clear. But right now, all the signs point towards this is a great management team. They are trusted by their employees. They've created a positive work environment within Xbox and all of their different development studios. And I think that is one of the most important things. Not saying that any of the other big gaming companies have created a negative environment. I'm not saying PlayStation has or Nintendo, but from the outside looking in, things are looking good for Xbox, and I think people probably enjoy working for them.
I think people like to point to 343, and then apparently there was the rumor that Undead Labs had some issues, but that didn't really seem very serious
There's
to
always
me
going to
from
be
what I've
some
read.
issues.
I think the big ones are 343 is really the biggest problem child in Xbox Game Studios, and then that Rare back in the day, but Rare is super successful now. They have CFDs, which is huge. Like, you can't use Rare as an example of mismanagement anymore. Yes, if this was the 360 and Xbox One, yes, I agree with you, but it's not anymore. Like, things have changed. We've come a long way. So I really don't see the mismanagement issue that a lot of people are talking about under Phil Spencer and the team and Xbox. Maybe they need to get a little more hands-on and tighten things up, but we don't know what goes on in the inner workings of these studios. Okay. Like I firmly believe that they're trying to give games that are the critical and commercial success that the players want. And that's all I can ask for.
I don't want Xbox to go more hands-on, or else all the games are just going to be like Netflix TV series. It's going to be the same thing over and over and over again, cookie cutter stuff. Like, we don't want that. We should be appreciative that Phil Spencer has a hands-off approach and the management team does. And sometimes you get crap like Redfall. Like, sorry, it's just the nature of the beast. Sometimes you're not going to have a great product, but damn, sometimes when you get good games like Hi-Fi Rush, it hits.
For sure. Well, Ethan, that's all we have for this week. Thanks everyone for sticking around. If you made it this far, where can people find you if they want to hear more from you, Ethan?
On the Discord. Come say hi.
And you can find me at the Muffin Mon on Twitter.
That's a 1 instead of an I and O instead of an A. Follow us at Save Game Media on Twitter. I haven't done. Oh, and I'm gone. Goodbye. I did the whole thing. Kevin.
I'm honestly probably just going to cut the recording at the end there when I said.
No, I did the thing. I did the 1 instead of an I and O instead of an A. I did the whole spiel. You got to keep it. You got to keep this part too, Kevin.
I don't know if I just kicked this out of the recording.
We're a dumpster fire, everyone. We love you. Goodbye.
All right.
Peace.
Yeah. Bye.